And let us now begin with this section that is for the abdomen, pelvis, and also for the perineum. Well, in this part, we will talk about the abdomen and pelvis. Though it's a big unit, abdomen and pelvis, and we cannot expect to discuss every single topic in abdomen and also retain it. Our target is, as we said, is PG in the examination, so we'll make sure that we'll cover up all the major topics in the abdomen, which are very much required in all the exams, and especially in the Central Institute. First of all, let me tell you that how the approach for the abdomen will be. Guys, nowadays the relations which are asked in the exam, if you look carefully, the questions which are asked on the relations are mainly those questions which are important surgically. I mean, surgically important relations are important for the exam point of view. Let me give you some examples. In case of peritoneum, they do ask relations on the walls of the lesser sac or the walls of the epiploid foramen because surgically both are important. Anterior abdominal wall, inguinal canal walls are important. Inguinal canal relations are important. Again, surgically important. If you talk about the duodenum, the first part of duodenum, because the first part of duodenum is peritoneal, and we have the gastroduodenal artery passing behind it, which can be affected by the duodenal ulceration, and that again makes the duodenal relation of the first part of duodenum very important. So it is also very important to understand that what relations to read and what to leave, like ureter relations, important, surgically important, kidney posterior relation, important. So we have to, we need to know how to limit ourselves, how we need to cover the huge unit abdomen so that most of the effective topics are covered, and also it is not a overload for us. Be it thorax or abdomen. Well, I always believe that walls are very, very important because when you have to do any surgical approach, you have to go through the wall only, whether it is anterior abdominal wall, posterior abdominal wall, and same with the thoracic wall. So the important landmarks we need to know. We need to know about the muscles in the wall. We need to know about the rectus sheath. We need to know about the thoracolumbar fascia. So that part becomes very important because all the surgical approach has to be through the walls itself. So guys, let us start the abdomen with some important landmark first, and then we'll slowly and gradually move toward other topics. So let's presume if this is the vertebrae T9, T10, T11, and T12. This is T9, T10, T11, T12, and let me put these number vertebrae guys: L1, L2, L3, L4, and L5. So important landmark to understand here. First of all, the level T9. Please note that T9 is the level for the xiphoid process. That is the level for the xiphoid process. That is one important. This question has also been asked in the exam, that it is the level for the xiphoid process. If I draw an imaginary line from the lower border of L2, from the lower border of the second lumbar vertebrae, that is also an important landmark because this is the lower limit for the costal cartilages. That means it is a subcostal plane. This plane here is a subcostal plane. Another very important landmark is the L1 vertebrae. If I draw an imaginary line from the lower border of L1, so this lower border of L1 represents a very, very important plane from where usually the questions are asked. That is called as a transpyloric plane. That is called as a transpyloric plane. As the name suggests, it must be going through the pylorus of the stomach. That is a transpyloric plane at the lower border of L1. At the junction of L3, L4, at the intervertebral disc of L3, L4 is the level for the umbilicus. Well, obviously the nerve supply or the spinal segment of umbilicus will come from T10, but the level of umbilicus we're talking about, that is L3, L4. It is between L3 and L4. Now, if I take a line from the body of L4 vertebrae, not upper border, lower border, I'm talking about body. If I draw a line from the body of the L4 vertebrae, this is the line which is going from the highest point of the eyelid crest. This is called as the supracristal plane. This is an important plane again, that is called as supracristal plane. These are all surgically important. That is called as supracristal plane because it connects the highest point of the eyelid crest. We call it supracristal plane. And finally, one more landmark that you should know, that if you draw a line from the upper border, this time it's upper border of L5. From the upper border of L5, this plane is called as the transtubercular plane. We call it transtubercular plane. Why transtubercular plane? Because it is connecting the tubercles of the eyelid crest. If you remember from the lower limb, guys, we talked about something called as iliotibial tract, and one of the attachment of iliotibial tract was to the tubercle of the eyelid crest. So those tubercles, those outer tubercles that we have on the eyelid crest, they are connected by this line which is passing from the upper border of L5 vertebrae. So we have a transpyloric, subcostal, supracristal, and then we have this transtubercular plane, out of which, from the question's point of view, undoubtedly the transpyloric plane is the most important. But why this transpyloric plane is so important, guys? Because transpyloric plane, if I may write for you, there are some important structures present at that level. First of all, this level, this lower border of L1, it is representing the tip of the 9th costal cartilage. It is the level for the tip of the 9th costal cartilage, which will go here. Number 2, as we said, transpyloric plane. So obviously the pylorus of stomach. We got this pylorus of stomach present at this level. Number 3, this is also the level for the origin of superior mesenteric artery. That's important. It is also the origin for the superior mesenteric artery, exactly at this level, lower border of L1. Please note, it is also the level for the hilum of kidneys. Sounds important only. Transpyloric plane, it is also the lower limit of adult spinal cord. We discussed that in the neuroanatomy as well. It is the lower limit for the adult spinal cord. And also, it is the level for the fundus of gallbladder. It is the level for the fundus of gallbladder. Well, they all are important and potential question. Tip of 9th costal cartilage, pylorus of stomach, origin of superior mesenteric artery, hilum of kidney, lower limit of adult spinal cord, and fundus of gallbladder. These are some important structures lying at this transpyloric plane, or you can say at the level of lower border of L1. One was the lower border of T4, which was very important. That was the sternal angle. Is a very important landmark. Similarly, the lower border of L1 transpyloric plane is also extremely important landmark, and you should know about it. So guys, this is the first thing, that is some important landmark we talked about. Okay, these are the important landmark. The tip of the xiphoid process. Ask this question was the xiphoid process. The tip of the xiphoid process present where? Xiphoid process is at T9. If I go more precisely, the tip of the xiphoid process is exactly at the intervertebral disc of T9 and T10. Xiphoid process, as I said, it is present at T9, but the tip of the xiphoid process will be pointing at the intervertebral disc of T9 and T10. So that is the first thing, some important plane, and especially the transpyloric plane. But moving on, in the anterior abdominal wall, if you remember something from the head and neck only, guys, when we talk about the deep cervical fascia, I told you at that place that there are two regions in the body where we do not have deep fascia. One was the face, except parotid region, and the second region is this, that is anterior abdominal wall. Now, anterior abdominal wall is having a skin, it is having a superficial fascia, and we have two layers of superficial fascia in the anterior abdominal wall. I'm sure you all know that, called as the Camper's fascia and the Scarpa's fascia. So we have a Camper's and the Scarpa's fascia, followed by the muscles of the anterior abdominal wall. And what are the muscles in the anterior abdominal wall? If you talk about the muscles on the side, we have external oblique, we got internal oblique, and we got transverse abdominis. So three main muscles on the side: external oblique, internal oblique, transverse abdominis. But the one important muscle that I want to discuss with you, on which some questions directly and indirectly are asked, is the rectus abdominis muscle. The rectus abdominis muscle, which is the main flexor of the trunk, that is rectus abdominis muscle. And let me use this picture here to tell you about the rectus abdominis. Look at that. Now, what you can see here, although there are two muscles you can see in this image, guys, this is a very small triangular muscle present in the lower part called as pyramidalis muscle. That's a small triangular muscle called as pyramid. Look at the shape also, it is like triangular muscle, we call it pyramidalis muscle. This, of course, is the rectus abdominis. So I would recommend you to remember the attachment of the rectus abdominis muscle, especially. Now, origin is, see, we said this muscle is for the flexion of the trunk. So obviously the muscle is originating below and inserting above. So origin of the muscle, if you see the rectus abdominis muscle, it originates from the pubic tubercle and also the pubic crest. You can just note it down that the origin of the rectus abdominis is from the pubic tubercle and the pubic crest. And then you see this muscle ascending upward and reaching till these costal cartilage. The insertion of the rectus abdominis muscle is to the 5th, 6th, and 7th costal cartilages. The insertion of the muscle is to the 5th, 6th, and 7th costal cartilages. It is running in the midline to the 5th, 6th, and 7th costal cartilages. The one important and the unique thing about the rectus abdominis muscle is that instead of having a continuous band which will reach all the way to this costal cartilages, we have these intermediate tendons. All these intermediate tendons are present, or you can say the tendinous intersections are present in between. These are the tendinous intersections which are present in between. Usually 3 number, you can see these are 3 tendons intersection. Well, we can have a 4th one also, which may or may not be complete. That is the 4th tendon intersection may or may not be seen completely. It is partly formed or it may be absent completely as well. So these tendinous intersection, what is the advantage of having a tendon intersection? Guys, imagine the muscle is originating from the pubic tubercle and the crest, and it is going all the way to the 5th, 6th, and 7th costal cartilage. So if there is no tendinous intersection in this muscle, every time I bend forward, my rectus abdominis muscle will come out. It will just come out like this, like a string of a bow, or as a bow stringing action. So the function of this tendinous intersection is to prevent the bow stringing of rectus abdominis. It will not allow the rectus abdominis muscle to bow string, to come out as a string of a bow. When you bend the bow, you can see the string is bulges out. So that should not happen with the rectus abdominis muscle, and that's why we have so many tendinous intersection, which provides the strength to the muscle and which also keeps it in check from going far beyond the anterior abdominal wall. So this is one important muscle I need to tell you before we go to the further part here, the rectus abdominis, origin below, insertion above to the costal cartilages. It is covered in the sheath also, which is called as the rectus sheath. We'll discuss that rectus sheath in a while. And that rectus sheath is actually contributed by the muscle which are coming from the side, like external oblique, internal oblique, transverse abdominis. These muscles will come in the front, and then these muscles will cover up, and they form this sheath that is called as the rectus sheath. Those, not exactly the muscle, actually the apparatus of those muscles will come in front, and that forms the sheath. Okay, but before we go to the rectus sheath or anything like that, first of all, guys, we need to understand something, that external oblique muscle, but this is one important muscle, and this is important from the exam point of view. External oblique muscle, aponeurosis, when it goes down, that same external oblique aponeurosis between anterior superior iliac spine and pubic tubercle, it like upfolds like this. It is external oblique aponeurosis, it comes down, and between the pubic tubercle and anterior superior iliac spine, it upfolds like this and forms a ligament, forms a thickening called as the inguinal ligament. So this is very important to understand what is inguinal ligament, what are the extensions of the inguinal ligament as well. So let's talk about the inguinal ligament. Inguinal ligament, guys, which is also called as the Paupart's ligament. It is also called as the Paupart's ligament. But this is an important landmark anyways, because it is the one which separates the abdomen from the lower abdominal pelvis. The lower limb is divided by this landmark. And what is inguinal ligament? It is, we just said, it is the modification of external oblique aponeurosis. I'll be writing EOA, external oblique aponeurosis. It is a modification of the thickening of the external oblique aponeurosis. We said it extends from the anterior superior iliac spine, if let's say this is the anterior superior iliac spine, and till the pubic tubercle. You will see it extending till this pubic tubercle. That's an extension of this inguinal ligament, if I may write on the side here. That is the inguinal ligament extending from the anterior superior iliac spine to the pubic tubercle. The purpose here, the reason we're discussing the inguinal ligament here, because external oblique aponeurosis forms inguinal ligament, but then we have some extensions of the inguinal ligament itself, and which are very much needed to understand the walls of the inguinal canal. So guys, there is one extension of the inguinal ligament that you will see running along with the superior ramus of the pubis or with the pectineal line. I mean, if let's say this is the one which runs with the pectineal line, and this is called as the pectineal ligament only. It's called as the pectineal ligament. It is running with the pecten pubis, so we call it pectineal ligament. It is extension of inguinal ligament. Please understand, we are not talking about the inguinal ligament is extension of external oblique aponeurosis, and now we are looking at the extension of the inguinal ligament. One of them is pectineal ligament, sorry. Then another one we have is this triangular ligament, which is stretching between this main inguinal ligament and this pectineal ligament. This triangular, very, very important ligament is called as the lacunar ligament. That is the lacunar ligament. I hope you remember we talked about this lacunar ligament where in the we talked about this lacunar ligament in the femoral canal also. When you saw the femoral ring, which was the beginning of the femoral canal, medial relation of that femoral ring was this lacunar ligament, on which sometimes abnormal obturator artery may be seen as well. So that is the lacunar ligament, also called as a Gimbernat's ligament. That is also called as a Gimbernat's ligament. All these eponyms, sometimes you never know, they might ask you a question with these names. Gimbernat's ligament, like pectineal ligament is called as Cooper's ligament. That is one extension called as the lacunar ligament. Second extension is pectineal ligament, and there's one more. We have one more extension of the inguinal ligament, which starts from it, goes behind the inguinal canal, and goes to the midline to the linea alba. If this here is the linea alba, the midline of the anterior abdominal wall, the linea alba, the white line that you see between the rectus abdominis muscle, that linea alba, to this third extension is attached, and that is called as the reflected part of inguinal ligament. This is called as the reflected part of inguinal ligament. So please note, these are three extensions of the inguinal ligament: lacunar, pectineal, and reflected part of inguinal ligament. So I can say in a way they are all extension of what only? External oblique aponeurosis. External oblique aponeurosis is forming the inguinal ligament, and inguinal ligament is modifying to give rise to all these three. So remember pectineal, lacunar, and reflected part, because we'll be requiring this a lot in the next topic that we're going to discuss, which is inguinal canal itself. So guys, knowing the extensions of the inguinal ligament, now we are in position to talk about the formation or the walls of the inguinal canal. So let me take you away from this topic and let's talk about the formation of the inguinal canal. I'll show you some comparative pictures also. You know, in the inguinal canal, most of the students have an issue with the orientation of the inguinal canal, that which wall is present anteriorly, what muscle is forming the posterior wall, how they are present, and is there a difference between the lateral side of the inguinal canal and the medial side of the inguinal canal pertaining to the boundaries. So the best section in which you can understand the anterior and the posterior wall of inguinal canal is the transverse section. If I take one transverse section, I can see that how exactly the anterior and the posterior wall are formed. Okay, so let us take a transverse section, which I'll show you in the image also. If I take a transverse section from the region of the inguinal canal, so obviously guys, anteriorly we have an external oblique muscle and external oblique aponeurosis, and the most posterior fascia of the anterior abdominal wall is fascia transversalis. So there we go. Now let me just first give you the orientation for the direction what we're going to draw. So the diagram that we're going to draw, guys, this will be the medial side of that. This will be the lateral. This is the posterior, and that is anterior. It's a transverse section, so obviously that is posterior, anterior, and then medial, lateral. So there we go. If this is the fascia transversalis, now you will see an opening in the fascia transversalis, and this is called as a deep inguinal ring. Try to label it on the side I'm doing it so that it will be easy for you to mark that boundaries simultaneously. So this is the fascia transversalis. That is the fascia transversalis, and this opening in the fascia transversalis is a deep inguinal ring. It is the posterior fascia of the anterior abdominal wall, so obviously the ring is quite deep. And then we have this external oblique aponeurosis, which is having this superficial inguinal ring. That is superficial inguinal ring, left right on this side here. That will be external oblique aponeurosis. So deep inguinal ring is the opening in the fascia transversalis, superficial inguinal ring in the external oblique aponeurosis. Now what you see, that this canal extending between the deep and the superficial inguinal ring is what you call as the inguinal canal. That is the inguinal canal which stretches between the deep and the superficial inguinal ring. If I draw a line from the margin of the deep inguinal ring and also from the margin of superficial inguinal ring, that will give me a detailed idea about the boundaries. Now look at this. Now I've limited the inguinal canal. Now I can see precisely what structures are forming the anterior wall and the posterior wall. Now one thing is clear from this picture, that no matter if you take a section from the medial side or from the lateral side, the anterior wall of the inguinal canal has to be by what? External oblique aponeurosis. That is definitely there. And the same goes with the posterior. If you look at the section from the posterior side, whether it is toward the lateral or medial side, obviously the posterior wall is by the fascia transversalis. That is definitely there. What else is there in the anterior wall and posterior wall? In the anterior wall, please note, you will also see the internal oblique muscle contributing and not transverse abdominis. Don't extend this transverse abdominis beyond this line. This is internal oblique muscle, that is transverse abdominis. And let me keep this transverse abdominis out. And these are the two structures which are forming the anterior wall of the inguinal canal. External oblique aponeurosis in the entire extent, and internal oblique muscle. External oblique aponeurosis and internal oblique muscle are forming the anterior wall. Internal oblique muscle is more toward the lateral side. That is the anterior wall. Posterior wall, undoubtedly, it is by fascia transversalis. Well, internal oblique and transverse abdominis muscle, these muscle actually will arch above the inguinal canal and will go posteriorly also. Like this, look at me. If this is external oblique one, leave it. Internal oblique and transverse abdominis. If you're imagining it on me, internal oblique and transverse abdominis muscle will come like this, out of which internal oblique will form the anterior wall, but not transverse abdominis. And then both these muscles, they will arch above the inguinal canal and go behind the inguinal canal, and forms a common tendon, which is called as a conjoint tendon, which I'll show you in the image, and that will give you better orientation. So this tendon is also present posteriorly and forming the wall, that is conjoint tendon, and also by the reflected part of inguinal ligament, which we just wrote here. Remember that? The reflected part of inguinal ligament. So fascia transversalis is there. In the posterior wall, we have this conjoint tendon. The conjoint tendon will be there, and we will also have the reflected part of inguinal ligament. The reflected part of inguinal ligament. All these three structures are forming the posterior wall of inguinal canal. fascia transversalis in the entire extent, conjoint tendon, and the reflected part of the inguinal ligament. So this is anterior wall and the posterior wall of the inguinal canal, and as I said, it is best understood in the transverse section if you want to look at the anterior wall and the posterior wall here. Anterior wall by external oblique aponeurosis, and internal oblique, posterior wall by fascia transversalis, conjoint tendon, and the reflected part of inguinal ligament. Before I go to the roof, or if I look at the floor, I need to understand that how will I see that section in which I can appreciate these roof and the floor better, guys. I need to take a section that is a spherical section. If I take a paraspherical section, I should say, which will go from the inguinal canal. So if you imagine it for me, if let's say this is my inguinal canal here, this is my right side inguinal canal. So if I take a spherical section like this, and then I see it from the side here, if I take a spherical section and see it from the side here, then I can see what is present above it and what is present in the floor here. So the section which will help me understand the roof and the floor will be the sagittal or the parasagittal section through the inguinal canal. Okay, now let's say that this is the inguinal canal here. I need your help in this. If this is the inguinal canal, now please help me out. What is the anterior wall of the inguinal canal? Well, let me again tell you in the beginning only, the orientation for this diagram will be, this is going to be the superior, inferior, posterior, and anterior. It's a sagittal section. Superior, inferior, posterior, anterior. Anterior wall of the inguinal canal, you already know. It is by what? It is by the external oblique aponeurosis. It is by the external oblique aponeurosis. You already know that, right? And wait, let me remind you. We also said, guys, external oblique aponeurosis, when it goes down, it turns upward and backward, and that forms what ligament? That is inguinal ligament. So this modification of the external oblique aponeurosis is seen in the floor. That is inguinal ligament, which is attached to the pubic tubercle. Let's say this is a pubic bone here. So in the floor, I can see that is the inguinal ligament going into the floor. External oblique aponeurosis forms the inguinal ligament that is in the floor. And let me continue here only. Inguinal ligament was not the only thing in the floor. There was one triangular modification as well of the inguinal ligament, and that was what? That was the lacunar ligament as well. Even the lacunar ligament. So this time it's the inguinal ligament, and one of the modification of inguinal ligament, that is lacunar ligament, are forming the floor, or you can say the inferior wall of the inguinal canal. What is left? Roof is left. Okay, let me again remind you something we discussed. We said anterior wall is also by what? Anterior wall is also by the internal oblique muscle. There we go. This is anterior wall by internal oblique muscle. But it is not by transverse abdominis. So I'm not stretching it in front. This is internal oblique muscle. This is transverse abdominis. This internal oblique and transverse abdominis, what you see, they will arch above the inguinal canal. That's what we said. And will go posteriorly. And they both join with each other. And you remember that what tendon was that? That was the conjoint tendon. That is the conjoint tendon. We already know conjoint tendon is in the posterior wall, so we don't have to write it again. Roof is by what? The roof is by these two. That is by the arched fibers. It's the arched fibers of internal oblique and transverse abdominis. Arched fibers of internal oblique and transverse abdominis. These are the structures which are forming the roof of the inguinal canal. That is about the detailed boundaries of the inguinal canal. If I may repeat quickly for you, we said anterior wall is by external oblique aponeurosis and the internal oblique, which you can see in this picture. Floor is by the inguinal ligament, one of the modification of inguinal ligament, that is lacunar. Posterior wall is by conjoint tendon, and what else you will see? There will be reflected part of inguinal ligament, and even fascia transversalis is also contributing to posterior wall. And roof, clearly, it is by the arched fibers of the internal oblique and transverse abdominis, which are actually going posterior to form the conjoint tendon itself. So guys, this is about the walls of the inguinal canal. Okay, let me just first quickly tell you the content of the inguinal canal, and then I'll show you one image here. But when it comes to the contents of the inguinal canal, the contents in male, that is spermatic cord. Spermatic cord is the content, and not only spermatic cord, the ilioinguinal nerve. If you remember, we talked about this ilioinguinal nerve in the lumbar plexus in the lower limb itself. So spermatic cord and the ilioinguinal nerve. Whereas in case of female, the content will be the round ligament of uterus. The content will be the round ligament of uterus, and once again, it will be the ilioinguinal nerve coming from L1, sometimes T12 also, usually by L1. That is ilioinguinal. But there's a small catch in the content also. Yes, these are the contents of inguinal canal, true. But ilioinguinal nerve is not the content of inguinal canal through and through. It is a partial content of the inguinal canal. See, what should be the true content of inguinal canal? Something which is entering from the deep inguinal ring and then comes out of superficial inguinal ring. That's how the inguinal canal was in the transverse section, right? So this spermatic cord and all that we said, they will go like this and in this manner. So that content is the main content or the true content of inguinal canal. That is true for the round ligament and that is true for the spermatic cord. But ilioinguinal nerve, the story behind ilioinguinal nerve is that ilioinguinal nerve actually pierces the posterior wall of inguinal canal, runs inside, and then comes out of the superficial inguinal ring. And that is why the ilioinguinal nerve, yes, it is the content of inguinal canal, but not entirely. It is only in the medial half of the inguinal canal. You see it piercing the posterior wall and coming out of superficial inguinal ring. So ilioinguinal nerve is the content only in the medial half of the inguinal canal. We'll discuss the spermatic cord in a minute separately. Okay. So spermatic cord or round ligament of uterus along with ilioinguinal nerve, these are the contents inside. Now let me show you one picture which probably will give you a better orientation about how exactly the inguinal canal is present, because this was a very schematic picture. Now look at this one image, guys. I'm going to show it to you. Here we go. This is the one. Just see it in the low magnification first. That is the image here, and this here is the inguinal canal here. Now you probably will not be able to notice this in this. Let me zoom this picture, and then you probably will notice all the boundaries of the inguinal canal. There we go. First, let me highlight what part here is the inguinal canal. This is the one. If I'm just putting this color on the content, there's a content we have your spermatic cord and can be seen there. I want to just focus on the wall, guys. Look at the anterior wall. This is the inguinal canal. Can you see that external oblique muscle? This is external oblique muscle, and look at this aponeurosis of external oblique which is coming from. So one anterior wall is by external oblique aponeurosis. That's what we said. Then you see a muscle. Internal oblique muscle is coming all the way like this. This is actually going to forming the spermatic cord also. This is internal oblique muscle as well. But look, not transverse abdominis. Not transverse abdominis. It is shown till here only. That is transverse abdominis. So internal oblique and external oblique aponeurosis. Look at the posterior wall. Internal oblique and transverse abdominis, we said they will arch above the inguinal canal, and when these muscles arch above the inguinal canal, they will go back like this and forms this tendon that is a conjoint tendon. Now, can you see this internal oblique here and transverse abdominis sapropelmosis, and they are forming this conjoint tendon. Both together are forming this conjoint tendon present in the posterior wall, along with the fascia transversalis. That is the fascia transversalis, which is present behind here, in which you can see this deep inguinal ring. That is the fascia transversalis. So these are the important boundaries which you can appreciate easily. That is the superficial inguinal ring will be here. That is, you can see already in the external oblique aponeurosis. That is the site for the deep inguinal ring, which is in the fascia transversalis. This whole thing is the inguinal canal. This here, and you already saw the boundaries, how they're formed: anterior wall, posterior wall, roof, and the floor. Obviously, you have the inguinal ligament along with the lateral ligament, which is one of the extension of this inguinal ligament. Now, if the intestine herniates through this deep inguinal ring, then obviously that hernia will be called as the indirect inguinal hernia. The direct inguinal hernia will be the one when the intestinal content will push the posterior wall, will push this fascia transversalis all along with it, and then it enters into the inguinal canal. Let me just show you one this picture. I'm sure you will discuss that, or we will discuss that in the surgery part in detail. But when we talk about the direct or the indirect inguinal hernia, well, these pictures will help you understand here. Look at this indirect one, guys. You can see the intestinal content. It is entering through this deep inguinal ring and then going out of the superficial inguinal ring within the somatic cord. That is the what? Indirect. That is indirect inguinal hernia you're looking at. Indirect inguinal hernia, when the inguinal canal is more straight, the obliquity is not achieved during in the newborn or in the children. That is the one where you see the indirect inguinal hernia. In adults, because of the weakness of the abdominal wall, you see the direct inguinal hernia, where you can see this intestinal content. Instead of coming out of this deep inguinal ring, it pushes the posterior wall. Look at this, it is pushing this fascia transversalis and other walls, and then this loop of the intestine will be seen running within the inguinal canal along with the fascia transversalis. Here it was entering through what? It was entering through the deep inguinal ring. So obviously, deep inguinal ring is opening in the fascia transversalis. So you will not see the fascia transversalis covering this intestinal loop. But in this case, it is pushing the posterior wall. So fascia transversalis is actually pushed along with the intestine and comes into the inguinal canal. That is the type for direct. It comes directly. Direct inguinal hernia, which is usually because of the abdominal wall weakness. So guys, this is about the inguinal canal, the walls of the inguinal canal, how they're formed, what are the different part of the, what are the difference in the lateral and medial side of the inguinal canal wall, their content, and the direct and the indirect inguinal hernia. So let's start with the cranial of nuclei and columns. Well, first, let me tell you the approach that how we're going to go about this topic. In the cranial of nuclei, first we need to understand the requirement for the columns. Like we have 3 different columns, but we have 4 different columns. So we've got to look into a slightly developmental part of that, why there is a need for 7 columns. What exactly is the meaning for all the columns? We'll elaborate it, and then we'll discuss them in more detail here. Once we're done with the cranial of nuclei column, we'll put them in a tabular form. We'll see that which nuclei is present in which part of the brainstem, and then we'll take all the major nerves, discussing that what column belongs to those particular nerves. So to begin with, pharyngeal arches. Now don't be surprised that I'm starting with the pharyngeal arches. The whole topic is cranial and nuclei. As I said, first we need to understand that what is the need for having 3 different columns. Now, how many pharyngeal arches do we have? I'm sure you all know the pharyngeal arches we have. We have first pharyngeal arch, we got a second arch, third, fourth arch, fifth arch disappears, and then we have sixth pharyngeal arch. So there was a time when fifth arch was also there, but later on it disappears. So we have 5 pharyngeal arches: 1, 2, 3, 4, and 6. If broadly we talk about the nerve supply, first arch is supplied by the mandibular nerve. Now we'll be discussing all this in the embryology as well, but we should know it as of now that first arch is supplied by mandibular nerve. Second arch is supplied by the facial nerve. Third arch is supplied by the glossopharyngeal nerve, whereas fourth and sixth arch, they both are collectively supplied by the vagus nerve. Yes, these are 2 different branches of vagus, but vagus only. Like we have a superior laryngeal nerve supplying the fourth arch, and we got a recurrent laryngeal nerve for the sixth arch. Something to be discussed later on, but all I want you to focus on that what are the nerves for the respective pharyngeal arches. Well, once you discuss the nerve, we should know that what muscles broadly are supplied by these nerves of pharyngeal arches. As we know that mandibular nerve supplies the muscles of mastication. Mandibular nerve supplies the muscles of mastication. So all the muscle of mastication will come under this first pharyngeal arch only. Although it is not only muscle of mastication, we have other muscles also by mandibular nerve, but broadly I'm saying, broadly muscle of mastication is by mandibular nerve. Facial nerve is taking care of the facial muscles. Glossopharyngeal and vagus nerve collectively they are supplying muscles of palate. They're supplying the muscles of palate. They do supply muscles of pharynx and also muscles of larynx. Glossopharyngeal and vagus nerve. Right now we're just saying collectively. I say glossopharyngeal and vagus nerve they supply muscle of palate, pharynx, and larynx. Now here's the point. If you look at all these pharyngeal arches and you look at the muscles which are supplied by these are all skeletal muscles first of all. Now, if we have a particular set of muscle derived from pharyngeal arches, so there has to be a separate column in the brainstem to supply only these muscles. So there is one column. Let's not name it as of now. There is one column in the cranial in the brainstem which is dedicated to supply the muscle derived from pharyngeal arches. So that is one group. Then there is a second group of muscle which are again skeletal muscle present here in this region only, but not derived from pharyngeal arch. Now think about it. What are the muscles left in this part? I want you to just think about this part here. So we come with the muscle of mastication, facial muscles are done, palate, pharynx, larynx. What is left? and tongue muscle are also what? They are skeletal muscle, but they are not derived from phalangeal arches. So those muscles are called as the somatic muscles. They are derived from the somites or somatomia. So guys, I would say that somatic muscles. Somatic muscles in the head and neck part. We have so many somatic muscles below, biceps, triceps. They are all somatic muscles. We're only focusing on this part right now. So the somatic muscle in the head and neck part, we got the extraocular muscle and tongue muscle. Extraocular and tongue muscle, they are somatic muscles. Sometimes you may get a question in which they might give you extraocular and tongue muscle both in the option, but you still have to choose a better one. So if you have to choose between extraocular and tongue muscle, your better answer would be the tongue muscle. The tongue muscles, you can say, they are directly derived from somites. Extraocular muscles are actually derived from somatomeres. So if the question says which muscles are derived from somites, directly go with the tongue muscle. But yes, broadly I can say that somatic muscle in head and neck are extraocular and tongue muscle. Now with that, we understood one thing, that in head and neck, we have to have three types of column. Now why do we need three columns, guys? Because one column we need to supply the muscles of phalangeal arch. Then we need a column to supply the muscles derived from somite. And what is the common thing between the two? The common thing between the two is that both are the skeletal muscle. So obviously we have some smooth muscles also here, like sphincter pupillae, ciliaris, all those. So for the smooth muscle and also for the glands, there is another column which is required here. So the requirement for the efferent column, the requirement for the motor columns, we need three motor columns at least. For the phalangeal arch, for the somatic muscles, and then for the smooth muscles and the glands. Now before we go into further detail on how exactly these columns develop and what are the name of the columns, let me tell you another basic thing here, that is about the development of the two plate from the neural tube. Okay, now let's presume this here is a picture of a neural tube. And neural tube is divided in two parts. Neural tube is divided in two parts by a sulcus, by a primitive sulcus, and that sulcus is called as the sulcus limitans. That is called as the sulcus limitans. Look at the word as limitans, limit. It limits the two parts of neural tube. So it is limiting the two parts of neural tube. We have one ventral part, the one which I'm highlighting. This is the ventral part of the neural tube. This is the ventral part of the neural tube. And this ventral part of the neural tube is referred as the basal plate. This ventral part of the neural tube is called as the basal plate, whereas the dorsal part is referred as the alar plate. Dorsal part is referred as the alar plate. So basal plate and alar plate. This division of the neural tube is to be discussed in the embryology separately. We're just looking into the part which is required for the head and neck cranial nuclear development. So sulcus limitans divides the neural tube in the ventral basal part and dorsal alar part. Now, I want you guys to, for 1 second, just forget about it's a neural tube. Just think in a way it is a spinal cord. And let's say it's a spinal cord section here. If this is a spinal cord, obviously this part of the spinal cord, that is dorsal part of the spinal cord, we all know is sensory part. And the ventral part of the spinal cord is motor. Same story here. Alar plate, dorsally present. Please remember this alar plate is a purely sensory plate. It is a sensory plate. Whereas this basal plate, which is present ventrally, it is motor plate. You can remember it from the spinal cord, dorsal horn are sensory, and the ventral horn are motor. So one thing is clear, that if any cranial nerve nuclei, if any cranial nerve column is developing in the alar plate, it has to be a sensory nuclear sensory column. And all the motor cranial nerves or all the motor cranial nerve columns, they will develop into the basal plate. So one very simple and straight question, that alar plate gives rise to the sensory nuclei and basal plate gives rise to the motor nuclei. This also comes into the form of MCQs. They will give you 4 options and will ask you that which of the nuclei is developing from alar and which is from the basal plate. So nothing to work up here. We just have to look at all the options. We need to find out that which one is the sensory nucleus, which one is the motor nucleus. Like let me throw some examples to you. If I say hypoglossal nucleus, now we know hypoglossal nucleus supplies the muscles of the tongue. It's a motor nucleus. So obviously it will develop from where? The basal plate. If I say, let's say the nucleus of tractus solitarius. Nucleus of tractus solitarius is for taste sensation. So obviously it will develop from where? From the alar plate. And if I say, let us say the trigeminal nuclei. I'm saying plural, trigeminal nuclei. As we know, trigeminal nerve is a mixed nerve. So that means some part of the trigeminal nuclei will develop in the basal plate and some part will develop in the alar plate. We'll see that subsequently. So I hope you understood the concept of alar and basal plate and how they are divided by the sulcus limitans and which one is sensory, which one is motor. Now the point is, this neural tube is not going to stay like this. Now look at it. Let us say this here is a neural tube. Now this is the dorsal part which was the alar plate, and here we have a basal plate here. If I say neural tube is giving rise to spinal cord, it makes sense. Neural tube is circular, spinal cord is also circular, and the space in between will give rise to the central canal of the spinal cord. Fine, no problem. But if I say the same neural tube is giving rise to the brainstem, then this probably doesn't make much sense, because brainstem is not exactly like this. What we have inside brainstem, there is no central canal in the brainstem. We have 4th ventricle inside the brainstem. So when that 4th ventricle develops, what will happen? This neural tube will open up, and this will open up in such a way that this dorsal part, that is the alar plate, will move toward the lateral side. So imagine 4th ventricle is developing inside, and the alar plate is moving toward the lateral side, which tells me that what nuclei are shifted toward the lateral side? That is sensory. So the sensory nuclei, the set of sensory nuclei goes toward the lateral side, and as you can see, basal plate is toward the medial side. So majority of the motor nuclei are present close to the midline only. This is something which you can apply from the syndrome part in the brainstem as well. When you read the syndromes in the brainstem, you look at majority of the syndrome which are affecting the midline of the brainstem, like Miller-Gubler syndrome, medial medullary syndrome, Weber syndrome, which we will discuss eventually in the neuroanatomy. Majority of the syndrome which are affecting the midline of the brainstem, the main loss is a motor loss. The reason is simple. The basal plate is close to the midline. Alar plate has gone toward the lateral side, so obviously alar plate and any syndrome which is affecting the lateral part of brainstem, the major loss will be a sensory loss. Like in the Wallenberg syndrome, the main loss is a loss of pain and temperature from the body and from the face because it is toward the lateral side of brainstem. So something which we can apply from this development of neural tube right to the syndrome part. So let us consider this neural tube in an open view and see what plate will come from where. So let's say this is a neural tube which has opened up. So this here is the developing 4th ventricle in between. That is the developing 4th ventricle inside. And let's say this is the sulcus limitans. I'm putting this dotted line here for the sulcus limitans, which has moved more anterolaterally. I'm just writing SL for the sulcus limitans. So you can see the 4th ventricle is developing inside. The neural tube has opened up. Let me put these arrows to tell you that what is the direction of the neural tube opening up. So it is opening from the dorsal aspect, and that's why the things are coming toward the lateral side. The one which is now close to the midline here, or you can say medial to the sulcus limitans, what plate is that? That is the basal plate. Basal plate is now close to the midline, and alar plate is more laterally placed. Make sure you write on one side only. So this pelvis here is the basal plate, and there we got this alum plate. The basal plate and the alum plate. Obviously, as we said, basal plate will have all the motor cranial nuclei. Now, what is the difference between the nuclei and the column? When we say the word nuclei and the column, when you have the same type of nuclei arranged in one line, we call it column. Like if you have all the nuclei which are supplying the muscles of pharyngeal arches, so if you arrange them in one single line only, that entire line is called as one column. So guys, when you look at the basal plate, we have three motor columns, or you can say three efferent column. I hope you remember that. Why do we have three efferent columns? Because we have to supply three different type of muscles: somatic muscle, pharyngeal arch muscles, and smooth muscle. That's why three columns. But when you go to the afferent column, which is in the alum plate, of course, it's not three. We have four sensory column, and we'll understand that why there are four in them. Three motor, four sensory. What are these efferent columns? Let's name them, and then we'll take them in detail one by one. The very first column here is called as GSE. The second column here is called as SVE, and the third column is referred as GVE. GSE, SVE, and GVE. So even before we write the name of the afferent column, I want you guys to look into the detail of these columns one by one, like GSE. When I write GSE, obviously GSE stands for the general, the S is for the somatic, and needless to say, they're all efferent column we're talking about first, so they're all motor column, efferent, general, somatic, efferent. Now, as soon as I say the word general, somatic, efferent, what comes to your mind is, guys, somatic. The word somatic should be highlighted here, because we said which muscles are somatic muscles? The somatic muscles were extraocular and tongue muscles. That means this column is dedicated to supply only extraocular muscles and tongue muscles. Only extraocular and tongue muscles will be supplied by this column. That is the GSE column, general somatic. Just catch the word somatic here. You have to find out that one keyword. You will not have enough time in the exam to look into the entire abbreviation and then think about the name of the column. You have to catch the keywords. The second column which we wrote, guys, it is SVE. SVE. SV stands for, it stands for the special. It stands special visceral efferent. Efferent. Obviously, all of them are efferent, so that's a special visceral efferent. The word we need to look at here is the special viscera. The special viscera, the specialized viscera. Although many authors say it's a misnomer, but kind of remember it. When you say special visceral efferent, the meaning of special viscera is branchial arches or pharyngeal arches. So the word special viscera here can be replaced with a branchial if needed. You know, branchial arches or pharyngeal arches. So special viscera is branchial. Special viscera is branchial. So either you call it special visceral efferent, as I said, many authors call it branchial efferent also. Same thing. And the name suggests branchial efferent or special visceral efferent. This must be supplying the muscles. Muscles from where? Muscles from pharyngeal arches. This is supplying the muscles derived from the pharyngeal arches. Now, what is the common thing between the first two columns? In the GSE and SVE, the common thing that you notice here is whether it is extraocular muscle, tongue muscle, or muscles from the pharyngeal arches, which were muscles of mastication, facial expression. The common thing is that all these muscles are skeletal muscles. Therefore, the third and the last efferent column that we have is automatically for what? It is for the smooth muscles. So we have a column named as GVE. GVE stands for general visceral efferent. General visceral efferent. And this column is to supply what muscle? It is to supply the smooth muscles, and it also supplies glands. It's a very important column. It's an autonomic column. It supplies the smooth muscles and glands. What are the glands you talk about? Like mammal, all these parotid, submandibular, sublingual, all the glands of head and neck, even beyond. The smooth muscles in the gland are taken care of by the GVE column. So it's very, very important first to look into the name and then try to extract the best possible information out of it. Then I say GSE, somatic, extraocular and tongue muscle, special visceral efferent, special viscera, that is pharyngeal arches, and the third column which is left, you can go by the method of elimination. This obviously is for what? Smooth muscles and glands. Let me take you back to the neural tube. Now, let me take you back to the neural tube here. What about afferent column? First of all, how to name the afferent column? Afferent columns are just the mirror image. Now, like we have a GSE, SVE, GVE. So when you start writing the name of the afferent column, it will go like this. Like we have a GVE here. So correspondingly, we can write GVA. Like we have an SVE here. The next one we'll write here is SVA. Then we have GSE, and this here is a GSA. But despite of that, there is one more column left, and I'll come. Just put a question mark here. We'll come back to it. GVA, SVA, and GSA. GVA, SVA, and GSA. Let's write the name. So first we wrote GVA and SVA. GVA, that is general visceral afferent. Obviously, this time all are afferent. We're talking about the afferent or the sensory column. And we have special visceral afferent. General visceral afferent, special visceral afferent. Now, please listen to this very carefully, guys. First of all, whenever you're looking at the afferent and efferent column, never ever compare them. Don't compare them. If you compare the afferent and efferent column, you will always end up with the wrong answer. Because I said GVE means supplying the smooth muscles and gland. So GVA doesn't mean you're carrying the sensation from the smooth muscles and gland. No, not necessarily. So when you're looking at the efferent afferent column, forget about the efferent column completely. Just don't even think about even that the efferent column exists. How to look at the afferent column is in two parts. The first word is what general, and here the first word is what special. They are telling you about the type of sensation. Type of sensation. Is it a general sensation like pain, temperature, touch, pressure, proprioception, stretch, or is it a special sensation like vision, olfaction, taste, all that? And the second word, visceral, is telling you that where the sensation is coming from. So that's how you got to look at the afferent column. The first word, what type of sensation? The second word, where it is coming from. Type coming from. Type coming from. So when I say general visceral afferent, that means it is about the general type of sensation coming from the viscera. And when I special visceral afferent, the special type of sensation, but again coming from where? Viscera. Let's take one basic example. If you're having a cup of coffee, the temperature of a coffee is a general sensation. Pain, temperature, all these are general sensation. So temperature of the coffee felt on your tongue is a general sensation. But the taste of the same coffee felt is a special sensation. So general visceral afferent is all about carrying the general sensation from viscera. Now you also got to understand the word viscera here, because if somebody say the word viscera in front of you, we think viscera means internal organ. Yeah, viscera is usually the term we use for the internal organ, but here viscera is actually denoting to the endoderm. If something is developing from the endoderm, then we're using the word viscera for it. If let's say it is derived from ectoderm or from mesoderm, we're calling it body wall or somatic. So viscera, whenever I say the word viscera here in the afferent column, column especially, think about it must be developing from the endoderm. And special visceral afferent means special sensation from the viscera. And the point is, the only special sensation from the viscera is taste. The only special sensation from the viscera is taste. And please mark my term, I'm not saying that taste is the only special sensation. I'm saying taste is the only special sensation coming from viscera. We do have other special sensation, but the thing are, they are not coming from the visceral organ. They're not coming from the visceral organ. So that's why you got to keep that in mind. So when we say the word taste, taste is the only special sensation which is coming from the viscera. Actually, the taste words are derived from the endoderm. So I would say, okay, taste is a sensation which is coming from the viscera here. Vision, olfaction, hearing and balancing, obviously they're all special sensation. But none of these special sensation is coming from the structures which are endodermal in origin. Like if you look at the top part of the olfactory mucosa, it is derived from the absorption of surface ectoderm. So olfaction will not come into special visceral afferent. If you talk about vision, retina is derived from neuroectoderm. You all know neuroectoderm. Ectoderm cannot be a viscera. And then I have internal ear, hearing and balancing, function of internal ear is derived from something called as otic capsule. And otic capsule is also what? Otic capsule is also an ectodermal structure. So these are special sensations, but because they are coming from something which is not endodermal, that's why we're not including them in this column here. So when you say special visceral afferent, you only have to think about taste and nothing else. Taste is the only thing. Where other sensation will go, we come to that. But before, let's continue with the column. What should be the next column, guys? The next column we wrote over there is GSA. One of the very, very important column. Loads of questions are asked on it. The GSA stands for the general somatic afferent. General somatic afferent. Now, once again, I want you to look at the same way. When you say general, what type of sensation? The general sensation. Stretch, pain, temperature, proprioception. But this time the difference is the sensation is coming from the somatic structure, from the body wall structure, something which is derived from either ectoderm or mesoderm. Like the best example we can take here is a trigeminal nerve. My trigeminal nerve, ophthalmic, maxillary, mandibular, all these branches are carrying the general sensation from the face, like pain, temperature, touch, pressure, proprioception. All these will go through trigeminal nerve, and ultimately these sensations, when they travel through the trigeminal nerve, they end in this column, that is GSA column here. So yes, the sensation here is the general sensation. It's the general sensation, but the general sensation from where? From the body wall. I told you what is body wall. See, whatever is not viscera is body wall. If it is not derived from endoderm, you count it in the body wall. As of now, we said 3 efferent and 3 afferent. I hope you understood that. Now there's one more column that we wrote over there, which we left. What column is that, guys? What is that 4th afferent column we have? Now we have 3 efferent column, and kind of with the corresponding name we have afferent column. The 4th column here, the additional afferent column here, is for those special sensations which are not coming from the endoderm or not coming from the viscera. The special sensation which was coming from the viscera was taste. So we said that was SVA, done. Olfaction, hearing and balancing, and vision. These are also special sensations, but because they are coming from a somatic structure, so there has to be a separate column from them, which is called as a special, because sensation is special, special somatic afferent, special somatic afferent. And that's why we have an additional column here, which is called as SSA, SSA, special somatic afferent. Let me write it for you, SSA. This is for the special somatic afferent. So what is the special somatic afferent? As we said already, the sensations are special, and they're coming from the body wall. Now, when you say special somatic afferent, what all comes into it? Now, this is an important discussion here. Olfaction will come into it. Olfaction will come into it. Vision, hearing and balancing. Hearing and balancing. Agree? Olfaction, vision, hearing and balancing, they all come under special somatic afferent. You know the reason, because the region where they're coming out from, those regions are not derived from endoderm. But the point is, guys, olfaction, which is carried by the olfactory nerve, the first nerve. Vision, which is by the second cranial nerve, optic nerve. And hearing and balancing, that is by the 8th cranial nerve, that is vestibulocochlear nerve. What you have to think about here is that we are discussing cranial nerve nuclei. So do we have cranial nerve nuclei for all these nerves? Well, no. Olfaction, olfactory nerve, fine. There is a nerve, but there is no cranial nerve nuclei. There is no nuclei for it. We do not have cranial nerve nuclei for olfactory nerve. We all know that olfactory nerve starts in olfactory mucosa, goes directly into the olfactory bulb. Game over. Vision, optic nerve. Optic nerve will go epiphyseal and goes back into the visual cortex. Again, there is no nuclei for the optic nerve. No cranial nuclei for the optic nerve. But for hearing and balancing, that is for the 8th nerve. Yes, we do have a nuclei for them. And what are those? We have vestibular nuclei. We got vestibular nuclei, and we also got cochlear nuclei. We have vestibular and cochlear nuclei. We'll see where they are present in the brainstem. So in the brainstem, there are nuclei called as vestibular and cochlear nuclei. And this gives rise to an important MCQ here. If the question says that olfactory nerve, optic nerve, and this vestibular cochlear nerve, they come under which column? Then you will say they will come under SSA column. All the 3 nerves, they come under SSA column. All the 3 types of sensation, they come under SSA column. But if the question says which nuclei come under SSA column, then obviously we do not have nuclei for these nerves. The only nuclei we have is for the 8th nerve. Then your answer will be only 8. The cranial nerve nuclei exists only for 8th nerve and not for the 1st and 2nd. So this here is about the how we name these cranial nerve nuclei and columns and what is their meaning. Before we put them in the brainstem, if we have a very quick recap on this, the first we said is GSE. GSE is general somatic efferent. The word somatic is for the body wall, the muscles which are extraocular and tongue muscle coming from the somites. Then we said SVE, special visceral efferent. Special viscera, as I said, although it is a misnomer, but you got to remember that it corresponds to the pharyngeal arches, the branchial arches. That's why it is also called as a branchial efferent. And this is supplying all the muscle derived from the pharyngeal arches. The third column, GVE, that is the only efferent column left. So this is the column dedicated to supply the smooth muscles and gland, because the previous 2 columns are for skeletal muscle. Coming to the afferent column, GVA, SVA. GVA is carrying the general sensation from the viscera. Like if I take another example here, having a lot of breakfast and I'm feeling my stomach is distended, that feeling of distension of stomach, which is coming through vagus nerve, is a general type of sensation coming from the viscera. So that will go into GVA, general sensation from the viscera. SVA, special sensation from the viscera, and we know the only thing which comes under this is taste. GSA, general somatic afferent. Sensations are general, but coming from the somatic structure. So again, the same pain, temperature, touch, pressure, but they are not coming from the viscera, they're coming from the somatic structure, like skin, like muscle, like periosteum, bone. So all the sensation will come under GSA column. It's a very, very important column from the exam point of view as well. And then we got SSA, special somatic afferent. All the remaining three sensations apart from taste, like vision and olfaction and hearing and balancing, they will come under SSA. The sensations are special, but they are derived from the auditory structure or somatic structures. One important thing is, guys, we cannot change the sequence of the column. If you see the columns, the GSE is the first or the medialmost column and SA is the lateralmost column. That is how you will see the spreading of the cranial nuclei also. So when you're looking at the brainstem and you look at the vestibulocochlear nucleus, you expect to see the vestibulocochlear nucleus very much toward the lateral side. And when you look at any like GSE nucleus, like for extraocular muscle, like oculomotor nucleus, trochlear nucleus, you will see them very, very close to the midline of the brainstem. So the sequence can't be changed. Although developmentally, some nuclei will shift from the lateral to medial and medial to lateral side. Not the entire column. Some nuclei will shift from lateral to medial and medial to lateral. There's a different phenomenon which is called the neurobiotaxis. We will discuss that in the neuroanatomy. As of now, let's keep it simple. So let's take all these 7 columns, put them in the brainstem, and understand what nerve nuclei will come under these particular columns. So there we go. So let's draw these columns in there. So starting with the first column, from the very medial side, that was GSE. That was the very first column, the GSE. After GSE, it was SVE, special visceral efferent. And followed by that, we have GVE. Now, let's stop here only. Let's first talk about these 3 columns, and then we'll add the rest of the columns. So make sure you leave some space on the side. And obviously, all these cranial nuclei are present in the brainstem. So they are present either in the midbrain, in the pons, or in middle oblongata. Let's say these are the 3 parts of brainstem. Midbrain, pons, and middle oblongata. To remind you again, GSE, the somatic, that means this column, this first column is purely for extraocular and tongue muscle. And we all know that all the extraocular muscles are supplied by 3rd nerve, 4th nerve, and the 6th nerve. And tongue muscles are supplied by the hypoglossal, the 12th nerve. That means the nuclei which you will see in the first column are 3, 4, 6, and 12. That's all. 3, 4, 6, and 12. Yes, what you have to remember is which nuclei is exactly where. Like 3rd nucleus and 4th nucleus, they will be present in the midbrain. 6th nucleus is in the pons. And this very long 12th or hypoglossal nucleus will be present in the middle oblongata. The location is important. This is the 3rd nucleus. That is 4th, that is trochlear. The 6th abducent here, and the 12th hypoglossal nuclei. So that's all about first column. You already know that why we have these nuclei in the column, because it is giving the column corresponds to the somatic muscle, which is extraocular and tongue muscle. So 3, 4, 6, and 12. The second column, special visceral efferent. The word special viscera was the brachial arches, the pharyngeal arches. Now, if you remember, what was the nerve for the first pharyngeal arch? First pharyngeal arch was supplied by the mandibular nerve. So we have a mandibular nucleus, or I should say motor nucleus of mandibular nerve present in the pons. What is the nerve for second pharyngeal arch? Second pharyngeal arch was supplied by facial nerve. Just below that, we have a facial nerve nucleus that is also in the pons. And then what was the nerve for the third arch, fourth arch section? Third, fourth, and sixth arch, they are all supplied by the glossopharyngeal and vagus nerve. So again, we have a huge nucleus in the middle oblongata, which is a common nucleus for the 9th nerve, for the 10th nerve, and maybe to your surprise, 11th also. 9th, 10th, and 11th. I'll tell you what 11th is that. Collectively, guys, this nucleus here is called as the nucleus ambiguus. This nucleus is called as the nucleus ambiguus. There's different spellings for ambiguous, and people write W. Nucleus ambiguus. So mandibular nucleus, facial nucleus, glossopharyngeal, vagus, which makes sense to here because all these in that sequence are the nerves of pharyngeal arches. Now the only question is where this 11th is coming from. 11th. First question is which 11th is it? Is it the spinal accessory or is it the cranial accessory? So guys, answer here is it is cranial accessory. See, we are discussing cranial nerve nuclei, so it is a cranial accessory actually. And the reason cranial accessory nerve is included in this column, which is purely for pharyngeal arch, because even cranial accessory nerve supplies muscles of pharyngeal arches, but not directly. Now what happens is there is a foramen called as jugular foramen. We will be discussing this in a while. Jugular foramen. So you have a vagus nerve coming out of jugular foramen, and we have a cranial accessory nerve also coming out of jugular foramen. Now the cranial accessory nerve, as soon as it comes out of jugular foramen, it joins with the vagus. So the further course of cranial accessory nerve is via vagus only. So it looks like the muscles of palate and pharynx are supplied by vagus nerve or by pharyngeal plexus, but originally their supply is coming from where? From the cranial accessory nerve. And that's why we have to give them due respect in this column. That is the reason the cranial accessory is included here. I want you guys to write it separately that if the question is about the muscles of palate and pharynx. Muscles of palate and pharynx. And I'm saying palate and pharynx, not larynx. Let's keep the larynx out of it. Muscles of palate and pharynx, they are supplied by which nerve? They're supplied by the cranial accessory nerve. They're supplied by cranial accessory nerve, but you have to say via vagus. Cranial accessory via vagus. We'll understand how exactly it is done. There's something called as a hitchhiking. Head and neck is known for the hitchhiking. When one nerve will join with other nerve and will reach its destination. That is called as hitchhiking. So cranial accessory nerve is joining the vagus nerve